Today on Ask This Old House. When making a threaded plumbing connection, when should you use Teflon tape, pipe dope, something else, or nothing at all?
That's a good question.
And I'm going to put the finishing touch on this backyard pizza oven.
Wow, that looks great.
It's plastic, it's green and white, and in the top is a sponge.
And we'll ask, what is it?
That's next on Ask This Old House.
Today we start off in Philadelphia. And when I'm in Philly, I like to head down to the Italian market. Whatever you need, from a bruisey to ziti, they have it here. Yeah, I'll take a chunk of that. Very nice. A little bit of the spaghetti. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Boy, am I starting to work up an appetite. Good morning, Aldo. How are you today?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I love your backyard. It's
Thank
so
you.
secluded. All these plants. Who does all the work?
This is all my wife's doing. She does all the containers, all the exotic plants.
I love this walkway, too. The little brick around here, the little bird bath.
Yeah.
Wow, what's this plant right here?
That's a banana.
Banana
Yeah,
plant?
one here, one over there, and they love it. Wintertime, they go in the house, but all summer they stay outside.
I love bananas.
fun,
Can we get one?
Yeah, well, I don't think they'll ever get that big, but...
All right, but anyways, you wrote me about a pizza oven. What's
did.
that about?
Well, we have a lovely brick pizza oven. Walk over here, I'll show you.
Oven outside.
Yeah.
This brick building right here, this is
This is it.
beautiful.
My youngest son, he's a mason. He and a couple of his buddies from school, after they graduated, built this.
Wow, that's quite a job.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. It's
There's a nice
really cool.
piece of granite right here in the entryway. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you make a lot of pizzas, you
Make
eat a lot of pizza.
Eat a lot of pizza, have a lot of friends and family over. Anytime there's a party or anything going on, we come over here and have pizza.
So pizza, what else can you do in here?
Oh, you can make all kinds of things in here. We do a lot of bread in here. I've
Really?
made Thanksgiving turkey in here.
No kidding.
Yeah, really good.
Wow, that's
Really
great.
It's a whole different taste to it.
All right, well, what can I do to help you out?
Okay, so we have a couple of storage areas. Now this one is just firewood, ashes, and I'll leave this one open because it's fine. Like, you have to get in here when you're making a pizza. You're always going in there for wood and
Oh,
doing
yeah,
things.
okay.
So that can stay open. But over in this area, underneath the countertop, I have another arched storage area, and what I'd like to be able to do in here is put some shelving in here and then have doors across the front. That way I can leave my pizza pans, frying pans, a lot of the utensils we use just for pizza can just stay out here and we don't have to
Save
bring
you
them in
some
and out of
trips
the
from
house.
going in and out of the house, yeah. All right, well, I can definitely help you with this if you're up into doing some work.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get some tools and we can get started.
Okay.
We're going to make a couple of arched doors to fit inside this arched opening.
Okay.
And the doors will swing out, okay, so you can get easy access to your storage. Now, the door frame itself is made up of a few different parts, and it starts with a piece of wood, a piece of pressure-treated wood that we will mount to the brick. That's going to make up our rough opening. Inside, against that, we'll have a piece of PVC trim that will make up the jamb to our new door, and a piece of PVC trim that will run around the exterior that will make up our casing.
Okay.
All right? Now, to get started, I want to start at the top, and I want to trace this arch onto a piece of PVC trim. So I need your help here. I want you to hold that, all right? Hold that right about there. Now I'm going to put a level on it. I want the end of the board to be about even with the opening. Okay, right about there. I'm going to make it level. Now I have to reach underneath, and I want to trace the brick to the back side of the PVC. You got it?
Yep.
And I'm going to scribe a mark. All right, now there's our arch.
Okay. I got it.
And then we'll start building the rest of our frame.
Okay.
Now these pressure-treated 2x4s are for each side of the opening. And what I want to do is I want to actually recess the 2x4s into the opening a little bit. I don't want them flush. I'm going to push it back about 1.5 inches. So rather than measure, I'm going to take a scrap piece of 2x4, hold it up against my 2x4 here, and keep it flush with the brick at the top and the bottom. All right, now once I have it into position, I want you to hold it. Okay. Now I'm going to drill a hole through the wood into the masonry using a 1/4 inch masonry bit and my hammer drill. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to fasten the wood to the masonry using this attachment right here. This is actually called a spring spike. It has a smooth shaft and a little bump on the end. When I drive this into the hole and into the masonry, that spring end of it tries to straighten out. And that force of it trying to straighten out actually holds the fastener into the masonry. So now all I have to do is drive it in with my hammer. Okay, there's one. Now we'll check the bottom.
Sounds like it really holds well.
It holds really well. All right, that's good. Now we'll put one more fastener at the bottom. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, I put the two pieces of 2x4, one on each side. Now we want to put a piece across the top, but I can't bend a piece of 2x4. So let me show you how I'm going to deal with that. Instead of one continuous 2x4 across the top, I've cut a bunch of small blocks and we'll attach them to the brick the same way we did the sides.
So the casing will cover those.
The casing will cover them all. Whenever possible, I like to drill the hole for the fastener into the brick and not the mortar. Now we're ready to install the trim around the inside of our rough opening, and that's called our jamb. The material that we're going to use is this cellular PVC material right here. And what I like about it, it holds up great outside. Now you can paint it or not, it's all up to you. Now also, what I like about it, it's bendable. So if I have this piece up here, I can actually bend it to form to the arch. Now I'm going to use a piece of 3/4 by 4 for the top. And because I don't have to bend the sides, I'm going to use a thicker piece of 5/4 by 4. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to take this piece and I'm going to put it into the opening. And I'm going to pull up on it, and hopefully we'll bend it right up into place. Okay. All right, now I got to make it even on each end. It's good there. All right, now what I want you to do is get a couple of screws and screw right up into the center of these two blocks right here. These are 2 1/4 inch stainless steel trim screws, great for outside. Okay, good. Now you brought this PVC right up tight to our block. If you notice, there's a gap under these blocks right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 2x right here that I've cut to height, and I'm going to swing it and use it as a jack to push the material right up against our blocks.
Okay.
With the jamb in place, we are now ready to install the casing around the outside perimeter. Now remember that piece that we marked the back of to copy the arch? Well, you can see why we did it, because you wouldn't be able to get your hand in there to mark the back. So now I want to cut on that line. All right, let's see if it fits. Okay. Good.
That's a great fit, Tom.
Now I need to cut the width. And first I'm going to mark it on the back side, just like I did before. I'm going to hold it up where it goes. Okay, got it there? Mm-hmm. Right on the underside of the jamb. Okay. Now we'll cut it.
Hey, Tom, what's that second line for?
Well, that's where I'm going to cut it, and I'll show you why in a minute. Now, once I put this piece in place, you'll understand why I cut that 3/8 of an inch off. Now, you notice that the underside of the casing is about 3/8 of an inch higher than the underside of the jamb. Now, I also did the same thing on the two side pieces to the casing also. You notice there's a 3/8 of an inch reveal there, and I did the same thing on the other side. Now, the reason I did that is so when you have the doors on here and you close the doors, they'll stop against that reveal and they won't go into the opening. All right, now the next thing I want to do is I want to actually weld these two joints together. And I'm going to use a 2-part epoxy that is specially designed for this cellular PVC. It sets up pretty quick, about 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it. I'm going to really mix it thoroughly. I'm going to pull this side out. I just want to ask you to hold that into position. Got it? Okay, now I'm going to lay some on this joint. It's called buttering it up. So we're going to butter it up. I'm going to stick it right under there, just like that. Now I want to do the other side. Okay, I'll slide this side in. Put it right in there like that. Now the epoxy has set up in our joints. I don't want to attach the casing to the jamb just yet because I want to use this casing as a template to mark for the doors. There's a couple of things that I want to make sure of, though. I want to make sure that the casing is tight against the brick at the bottom and both sides, so I temporarily am going to slide this piece of wood in here like this. Okay, now that's holding it tight against the brick on the bottom. Now when I pull this out of the opening, I want to make sure that it doesn't move in or move out at the bottom, so I'm temporarily going to hot glue a piece of trim to the face of the casing. Okay, and I'm going to line it up with that row right there. You got it? Just push it there. Okay. Now we're just going to hold it there for a couple of seconds. Okay, now let's pull this piece out of the bottom here. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to start at the top and see if I can pry this out of the opening. So I want to get underneath it here and pull it away nice and easy. Over here. Get behind this one. Okay, pull it right out. All right, good. Now we'll take that over to the table. All right, now this is the material that we're going to use to make your doors. It's made of the same material that we did our trim work, a cellular PVC. It comes in sheets. It has a groove in it to make it look like beadboard. But the problem with it is it's only a ½ inch thick, and I want it to be thicker for the doors for strength. So what I did is I took two pieces and I cut them roughly to size. I sanded the back. I glued them together using the same epoxy. I took some clamps and I went around the perimeter, gluing the edges. I took a sandbag to hold the middle together. Now that it's dry, I'm going to take my frame, I'm going to lay it on top, center it in the position, and I'm going to mark right around the perimeter. All right, and now I'll cut it. Now I'm going to take these two doors and I'm going to attach them to the casing. So I'm going to pre-hang them. I'm going to attach the hardware right here on the table, and then I'm going to take the entire unit and fasten it to the jamb. All right, now we'll place it in the opening. All right, that fits good.
Wow, Tom, that looks great.
All right, now to attach it, we're going to use these special screws that come in a kit as the screws and these plugs that will match the PVC trim. Now, when I sink the screw, it'll cut a perfect hole for the plug. When I push the plug in place, you'll never see the hole. All right, your doors are finished and my job is done.
Not so fast, Tom. You taught me how to build these doors. Now I'm going to teach you how to make a pizza.
Sounds good to me. Get that, huh?
Look at this. Give it a shake, make sure that it moves.
Oh, it smells good.
Now come a little thicker.
A little thicker?
Yep.
How about 3/8? Strong
Yeah,
3/8?
how about a strong 3/8?
Okay.
Just smear it around. All right, let's get these babies in the oven.
Sounds good to me.
You got to keep an eye on these pizzas. They're going to cook quick.
Okay, they're coming out.
There you go. Beautiful.
Just like cutting tile. Oh boy, this looks good. This is good, Aldo. You do good work.
Thanks, Tom. You do good work, too. I really appreciate you coming down to Philadelphia today.
It was my pleasure.
All right, guys, here we go. It's plastic, it's green and white, and in the top is a sponge, and it plugs in. What is it?
I know exactly what it
do?
is. I do. Yeah, we have one. This is a nail polish.
A nail polish.
Yeah. So you like getting manicures too, right?
Well, no, I don't do manicures.
You know?
Pedicure.
Oh,
once
TMI.
Man, what?
It's not for that. Actually, let's say you have an old nail or a dirty nail on the job site. You want to clean that up because you don't want your customers to talk. They don't think you use an old nail. What you do is you take it and you put it in here. You wait about 15 minutes. You take the nail out, and look at that, shiny as new.
Look at that.
Yeah. It's a nice little magic trick there. I didn't see anything.
No, this is actually a shredder. A shredder.
Whoa, wait. That's too small. You're not going to get pieces of paper
This is
in
not
there.
for paper. This is actually for the digital age.
What?
There are emails. There are bills you want to get rid of. There are things you want to delete. And when you hit delete, you don't know if they really go anywhere.
That's true.
Right? With this, you plug it in right here, and you hit shred, and it just takes it all out of there and puts it in. And when you're done, there's nothing in there.
Nothing in there anyway.
That's how you know it works. There's nothing in there. Get out of here, get out of here. Guys, this is actually for cleaning up DVDs.
Oh, getting like the fingerprints off them?
That's scratches.
No. I'm talking about cleaning up DVDs. Like taking an R-rated movie, making it PG-13.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, say for
kids can
example,
watch.
so the kids, you put in Dirty Harry, and out comes Harry Potter.
Reservoir Dogs becomes 101 Dalmatians.
Exactly.
9.5 weeks. Chitty, chitty, bang, bang.
That's what I'm watching. That's a good one. You got one, huh?
Not even close.
Oh.
This is a hydroponic garden for the kitchen. This will grow plants without soil. You fill it with water here, you plug it in, and the pump pushes the water up into the sponge. And then you just take some basil seeds, sprinkle them along the top, and in 4 to 5 days they germinate. And then in 2 months, you have a stand of basil. You can come in and take some clippings and make a really nice pesto.
Hey, with your bowl of pesto, my DVD, you and I got dinner and a movie.
Yeah.
Not happening now.
Richard, this is definitely a question for you. It comes from Stephen in Cupertino, California, and he writes, when making a threaded plumbing connection, when should you use Teflon tape, pipe dope, something else, or nothing at all?
Well, it's a good question. When most people think of threads, they think of this. It's a machine thread. It's a straight thread. Most nuts and bolts have it. And you can make that nut go up and down because this is straight. This is not the type of thread we use normally in plumbing. We use one called a tapered thread. So if you look at this piece of pipe, there was material right here, and someone took a pipe die and cut threads. And you'll notice, if you look carefully, that the thread is smaller right here, and it gets bigger as it goes up.
I never noticed that before.
So now, as you tighten that in, the taper gets tighter.
Huh.
All right?
So on a straight thread, as this nut moves, it never gets tighter until it hits something.
That's right.
But as that thread travels, it tightens up.
That's right. So even when you tighten it up, though, it still will not be liquid tight. You still need some form of thread sealant.
All right, so what sealant do you use?
Well, nowadays, people are using plastic for everything. So the popular thread sealant is this. It's called Teflon tape. It comes on rolls.
Yeah.
And the best way to apply this is to hold the work in your left hand. And now you'll notice I'm going to go around. The Teflon does not have any adhesion, so you have to pull it tight enough so it seals onto itself.
It's almost filling those threads just a tiny
That's
bit.
right. So you go 2 or 3 times, and now when you get to this point, the important thing is to pull it tight enough so it seals onto itself.
Okay.
And then you just tighten it in.
Great.
All right. Now this is what's used nowadays, but I still am partial to this, some sort of pipe sealant or pipe dope they call it. There's 2 different brands that we use. One, we go on here with the threads.
So this is kind of a liquid. I mean, is this a permanent seal? Is this going to set up?
Well, the nice thing is it'll fill between the threads, but it'll never set up so hard you can't take it apart. You always want to be able to take the work apart later.
Right.
All right.
Understood.
So that would just thread right in right here. Okay.
Yeah.
And tighten it up. Now, when I'm connecting to old work like this radiator connection, I'm going to use wicking. So I'll still use pipe dope.
And when you say wicking, are you talking about this sort of ball of thread here?
That's right. Once you pull out a single piece of that wicking.
Just one strand?
Yeah.
Okay, that's for you. Just snap that off for you.
So now, in this case, I'm actually going to put this wicking so it lays right into the threads.
So what are you doing? You're filling up those threads
Absolutely.
even more?
Absolutely. So now what happens is, as liquid touches it, that string or wicking will just expand slightly so it'll act like a caulking.
Oh, very clever. So in plumbing, it sounds like anytime you have threads, you're sealing them.
Well, you have to seal them, but I actually won't use thread sealant on every thread. Let me show you what I mean. This is a radiator valve on a, radiator's right here, the pipe comes up here. And let's talk about this connection. It's actually a union connection. Now, in this case, this thread is straight. The nut is straight.
So it's just going to pull 2 things
That's
together.
right. The liquid tight connection is going to be because we bring this face tight enough against this one. It's called a ground joint.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to use any thread sealant right there on these threads, but I might use a little touch of pipe dope right here because as I make these pieces together, it's going to just make a nice tight seal, help us make a nice tight seal.
Okay. Now, there are actually some connections where there's a rubber gasket already installed, right?
On some of these new faucets, these connections right here, again, this is a straight connection. This is a water supply going up to the bottom of a lavatory. And in this case, I don't need any pipe dope right here. It has a rubber gasket. And we just want to make this tight enough to compress that rubber gasket to the bottom of the faucet.
Great information. So, Stephen, I think that is the straight dope on making plumbing seals. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Rich Trethewey.
For Ask This Old House. So when you call me a pipe dope, it's a sign of
It's a
affection?
term of endearment.
Brother. Next time on Ask This Old House. I'm headed to Atlanta to help a homeowner add the finishing touch to the front of his house.
I've got a tip that's going to make it a lot easier for you to split firewood.
And at this sink, hot's on the left and hot's on the right. But I'm going to fix that.
And we'll ask, what is it?
I carry this with me as I'm walking up the walk. Bing bong. I can ring any doorbell just like that. Ask This Old House has much more to show you. To see entire episodes anytime, just go to video.pbs.org. This Old House magazine, the companion to the television series, provides advice from our experts that you've come to know. You can use your credit card to order 10 monthly issues for $10. Just call 1-800-221-5900.